Hello and welcome to another edition of the Morning Update live on NTN. We'd like to thank you so much for tuning in. For those of you who are watching on air and online, for those residents here in St. Lucia going about their day under COVID-19 protocols and the state of emergency, as well as St. Lucians in the diaspora who are looking to keep abreast as to what's happening in their island home. Good morning, good morning, good morning to you. At this point in time, we want to take a quick break. When we come back, we will let you in on the developments coming out of the government of St. Lucia, and that includes St. Lucia recording 9 new cases of COVID-19, as well as 5 new COVID-19 related deaths. And we're going to provide some clarification because just yesterday we did report that there was no one in the ICU, no one requiring special care for being in a critical condition. So that is going to be explained directly after this break. Also, the government of St. Lucia is sparing no efforts toward the complete withdrawal of the Leahy law imposition on us, and St. Lucia commemorates World Day to combat desertification and drought for 2021. Stay with us.
We can win this war. Get vaccinated. We're taking our life back. Get vaccinated. We know what to do. Get vaccinated. COVID-19 we won't lose to you. Oh no. Take 2 doses. Take our life back. Time for a brand new day. Take 2 doses. Take our life back. To live and work and play. Take 2 doses. Take our life back. The health experts we trust. Take 2 doses. Take our life back. Vaccinate for you, for yours, for us.
Let's take our life back with the safe and effective AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine. The mobile vaccination drive is coming to you. Visit the Ministry of Health and Wellness and Bureau of Health Education Facebook pages for more information. Let's take our life back. Vaccinate for you, for yours, for us.
Get vaccinated.
This message is brought to you by the Bureau of Health Education of the Ministry of Health and Wellness and this station.
Thank you so much for staying with us. This is the Morning Update live on NTN. We just had a little bit of technical difficulty. That's why I had to quickly go to a break. But we're back and we're on, and we'd like to thank you so much for tuning in. Today is Wednesday, the 23rd of June, 2021. And before we took the break, I just informed you of the 9 new cases of COVID-19, as well as 5 new cases of COVID-19 related deaths. And this might perplex you because just yesterday we heard that there was no one in the ICU, no one requiring critical care associated to this COVID-19 infection. So please listen carefully. Tuesday, June 22nd, the Ministry of Health and Wellness received confirmation of 9 new cases of COVID-19 from the Ezra Long Laboratory. And this is from a batch of 287 samples that were taken from June 19th to June 21st. These samples were all processed this week, Monday. These newly diagnosed individuals were seen at various community respiratory clinics where they were assessed, nothing out of the ordinary, asked to remain in isolation pending the outcome of their tests. And those 9 individuals who've been confirmed positive have now, arrangements are being made for them to be placed into isolation and for care. Contact tracing is also underway for these newly diagnosed individuals. The Ministry of Health and Wellness has also received news of the recovery of 10 individuals, bringing the total number of active cases in country to 63. The overwhelming majority of the active cases are doing well. However, 2 patients are now currently requiring treatment in the intensive care unit. The new positives bring the total number of cases diagnosed in country to date to 5,227. Now, this is the point at which we deviate from what is typical in terms of the press releases that we receive from the Department of Health and Wellness. Please listen carefully. The Ministry of Health and Wellness regrets to announce that there have been 5 new COVID-19 related deaths on the island, bringing the total number since the start of the pandemic to 84. Death number 80 is a 60-year-old female from Dennery. Death number 81 is a 50-year-old male from Castries. Death number 82 is a 76-year-old male from Grosselet. Death number 83 is a 92-year-old female from Castries. And death number 84 is an 84-year-old female from Soufrière. As of, so just to give you some clarification on these latest cases of COVID-19 related deaths. We did have a subsequent press release being put out by the Department of Health and Wellness providing clarification. The ministry is seeking to provide clarification on the deaths reported earlier Tuesday, June 22nd. The epidemiology unit of the Ministry of Health periodically performs reviews and updates of the COVID-19 database. And this exercise was conducted between Monday and Tuesday. The 5 deaths that we have reported as at Tuesday, 22nd June, were part of a reclassification that resulted from this review. So these deaths all occurred between February and May of this year, 2021. The ministry now restates each of these deaths with the date of which it occurred. So as I mentioned, death number 80, the 60-year-old female from Dennery, she passed away on the 4th of April 2021. Death number 81, the 54-year-old male from Castries, passed away on 23rd February 2021. Death number 82, that is the 76-year-old male from Grosselet, passed away on April 5th, 2021. Death number 83 is a 92-year-old female from Castries who died on March 9th, 2021. And death number 84, the 84-year-old female from Soufrière, died on May 29th, 2021. The Ministry of Health and Wellness thanks the public for their patience and understanding. So these have all been a registration of COVID-19 related deaths that have been put into the database after these persons would have passed between February, so that's February, March, and April and May. So please take note of this. These are not recent passings. These are individuals who would have passed away earlier on in the year, and the Ministry of Health is indicating that they were part of a reclassification that resulted from a review that was conducted within the Ministry of Health and Wellness. So please take note of that. At present, we have 9 new cases of COVID-19, according to the latest release from the Department of Health and Wellness. 2 of the new cases, two of the active cases, are requiring treatment in the intensive care unit right now. The total number of active cases in St. Lucia stands at 63, and the total number diagnosed in country since March of last year, 2020, stands at 5,227. We do hope you understand the information that has been put out by the Department of Health and Wellness and providing clarification and ironing out any concerns or anxieties associated. Of course, the Ministry of Health and Wellness and we here at the GIS, we commiserate with the loved ones and family of the individuals who have lost their lives associated with this virus, even now being registered in the database. We continue with our updates this morning. The government of St. Lucia sparing no effort toward the complete removal of the Leahy law. Now, you would recall there was a press conference on Friday at the Finance Administrative Center where the U.S. ambassador to Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean, Linda Tagliatella, did fly in to speak to the press, speak to the media, along with our Prime Minister, Honorable Alan Chastney, as well as the Commissioner of Police in St. Lucia, Milton Daisy. The U.S. government on the 18th of June 2021 reinstated assistance to select units within the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, and the RSLPF has been excluded from receiving U.S. assistance since the imposition of the Leahy law back in 2013. You would recall through the media, due to the alleged extrajudicial killings of 12 individuals by members of the police force. The Leahy law prohibits U.S.-funded assistance to units of foreign security forces where there is credible information implicating that unit in the commission of gross violation of human rights. The State Department Leahy law, however, includes an exception permitting resumption of assistance to a unit if the Secretary of State determines and reports to Congress that the government of the country is taking effective steps to bring the responsible members of the security forces unit to justice. And that is exactly what is happening here in St. Lucia. We had U.S. Ambassador to Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean, as I said, Linda Tagliatella, announcing the resumption of assistance to select units last Friday at the press conference, and explained what is required for the complete removal of the Leahy law imposition on St. Lucia. We go to our first clip of the morning. Take a look.
What the Leahy law requires is to have a reasonable, supported prosecution, which means that it has to be well documented. There has to be a significant effort to determine if the alleged extrajudicial killings actually took place and who was involved, and is there sufficient evidence to go forward to a trial. There is no requirement that people must be found guilty or convicted of charges. What it means is that there has to be a reasonable and respectable process by which people are held accountable and determined whether in fact they had participated or not in a particular activity. So it's up to the DPP to put together his best case or cases. It's up to him to determine and to document those cases that can't move forward because there is insufficient evidence. And from there we can move forward to go back to the United States government and discuss whether this is acceptable under the Leahy laws and whether we can then remove the restrictions.
In other words, the full process of justice, the full commissioning of justice in this matter, the alleged extrajudicial killings of 12 individuals by members of the police force. The government of St. Lucia remains committed to ensuring the complete removal of the Leahy law imposition, removal of the sanctions rather. Prime Minister Honorable Alan Shastney explained that the government has been working diligently to ensure that this thing happens. He explained and he indicated while the matter rests ultimately with the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution, DPP, the government of St. Lucia has and will continue to avail the required resources, technical assistance to see this matter through. The Prime Minister has expressed confidence in the Office of the DPP in managing the situation.
I want to say to you that I believe that the DPP's office is doing everything to protect and enshrine the rule of law in St. Lucia. That's his most important aspect. He also has to make sure that justice is served. And justice means that a person is innocent until they're proven guilty. And we do have a process here which is called a coroner's inquest. And we have the outcome of all coroner's inquests on the concerned matters. 4 of them, the coroner's inquest ruled that there was no wrongdoing. And we have 1 coroner's inquest which indicates that there requires to be further investigation. The only entity in St. Lucia that can in any way challenge a coroner's inquest is the DPP's office. And that challenge has to come on the basis of evidence. So the DPP has to be satisfied that the evidence that his office has collected is sufficient to stand up in a court in his challenge to overrule a coroner's inquest. Again, it is not my responsibility to be involved in the details of the DPP's investigations. I am satisfied that I have received requests on a regular basis for resources, and we have made those resources available to him. I'm hoping that the DPP will make some pronouncement, because I think it's been some time, and that whether he feels he has enough evidence to challenge any of the coroner's inquest, that's his part.
That was Prime Minister Honorable Alan Shastney, Prime Minister of St. Lucia, speaking there. Again, the government of St. Lucia remains committed to ensuring the complete removal of the sanctions that have been imposed on St. Lucia through the U.S. Leahy law. In the meantime, the U.S. government has reinstated assistance to select units within the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. And you heard earlier the U.S. Ambassador to Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean indicating what it will take for there to be a complete removal of the Leahy law imposition on our country. We take a break at this time. When we come back, the SUFRA Marine Management Agency and the German Agency for International Development, GIZ, formalized a technical cooperation at a recently held ceremony. Stay with us.
Sons and all the daughters, the island now St. Lucia, the place that full of culture, beautiful people, good character, big mountains, good for adventure, driving volcano, you feel you can enter natural resources, place to remember, right banana cause of a jelly water, no way in this world that I go, nobody can tell me what I know, could I England go need a Tokyo, no place like Lucia, no, St. Lucia, my little chacalisco, number one on the list though, even when your own people them hit you, I will never forsake you. Sons and all the daughters, the island now St. Lucia, the place that's full of culture.
Thank you so much for staying with us. This is the Morning Update live on NTN, and we continue with word that the SUFRA Marine Management Agency and the German Agency for International Development, GIZ, they've both enjoyed a relationship in the last few years. However, they formalized technical cooperation at a recently held ceremony. We get the details in this report. St. Lucia is one of 4 small island developing states in the Eastern Caribbean to benefit from a German-funded project to lay the foundation for the successful introduction of sustainable financing mechanisms for marine protected or managed areas. The SUFRA Marine Management Agency, SMMA, is the local beneficiary of this undertaking by the German Agency for International Development, GIZ. The project includes maximizing SMMA capabilities to draw down funds from the Caribbean Biodiversity Fund and other regional donors, also human capacity building and drawing up national plans of action. Project manager for the GIZ financing program is Dr. Hammond Volker. He presented an overview of the project during a virtual ceremony to formalize technical cooperation between the SMMA and GIZ.
Mr. Leahy explained a lot about the revenues that are possible to gather from tourism. But besides that, and we have seen in the COVID-19 crisis that these are very volatile. So from one day to another, tourism almost went down to zero. So this might not be the only reliable, or should not be the only source of revenue for the marine protected areas. This is why we want to support the SMMA and accessing funds from the CBF, the Caribbean Biodiversity Fund, or other donors that are active in this region and the sector, to diversify the sources of income.
During the ceremony, Dr. Volker was officially welcomed by the government of St. Lucia through Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Barrymore Felician. The official wished Dr. Volker all the best during his tenure on the island and pledged technical support from the government in the rollout of this project.
We strongly endorse the technical cooperation agreement between GIZ and the SMMA. So that support is there, and we'll commit the technical resources to make that possible. There is a need for a more robust financing platform to ensure SMMA performance and protection of the marine space. We therefore welcome this initiative. It is timely now. It would have been perhaps even a little better if it had taken place before COVID-19. But now we have it here. We are pleased to have that support and the intervention of GIZ, providing the support for laying the foundation. And it's important for us to make the distinction. They are going to be laying the foundation for a sustainable financing mechanism. This, when successful, will provide the SMMA with the financial stability required to properly execute its mandate and boost performance.
GIZ support to the SMMA precedes this 2021 Sustainable Marine Financing Program. It is a progression from the Caribbean Aquaterrestrial Solutions Program in its phases 1 and 2 that lasted until 2020, supporting marine managed areas with infrastructure and management tools, as well as improving climate resilience through systematic resource management. SMMA Executive Chairman Ricky Alexander says the agency looks forward to the continued engagement with GIZ.
It is important to note that existing financial contributions are well below requirements and reveal a strong disparity in collection and user payments, all of which affect protected area performance. Establishing sustainable financing for MPAs is thus an essential exercise to help marine protected areas reach its effective management capacity. This is why the formalizing of this important partnership with GIZ is critical as one of the important mechanisms to enhance the sustainability of the SMMA.
The German Agency for International Development, GIZ, has been providing support to St. Lucia and the Eastern Caribbean since 2013. It currently works with 120 countries globally and is funded mainly by the German Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development. For the Government Information Service, I am Jessie Leonce reporting.
And we will be following up on that story as well down over in Soufrière, how they're able to adjust to the post-COVID world, really, in terms of generating financing, revenues, and so on. Also following up on the previous story that I spoke to you about in terms of the the ultimate removal of the Leahy law imposition. That is the goal on the part of the government of St. Lucia, doing whatever it can to bring a conclusion to this matter. We continue with our updates this morning. The Department of Forestry joined hands with the CIBC First Caribbean Bank to commemorate World Day to Combat Desertification and Drought 2021.
The 2021 Desertification and Drought Day, held on June 17th, focused on turning degraded land into healthy land. In an effort to restore ecosystem services and integrate the ecosystem management approach, the Department of Forestry, in collaboration with First Caribbean Bank (CIBC), held a tree planting event in Montcito. Assessments carried out by the Department of Forestry provided evidence of overutilization of resources for livelihoods in the area, which has the potential to result in a loss of resource base. The forest reserve was intentionally cleared for the production of charcoal and planting of agricultural crops. The activity saw the transplanting of approximately 300 trees with an eye toward combating deforestation. Country Manager of First Caribbean Bank CIBC St. Lucia, Nigel Olivier, says that this initiative comes at a fitting time as the bank celebrates its 100th year of banking in the Caribbean.
We wanted to have something that would be significant and long-lasting and something that would contribute to keeping a greener space. And it sort of fitted well with the fact that we have branches throughout the region in all 16 territories. And as you know, a branch is also a part of a tree. And we thought that that would be a good thing to do. So we decided that let's do some tree planting. And so we've done that in all our territories, and today here in St. Lucia, and quite frankly, I think we're probably going to be the best, because I think we have a very special partnership in that today sort of fits in with what is happening as a country, and then overall with what we're doing as a bank.
The event saw many other national agencies and NGOs coming together in solidarity for the cause. Acting Chief Forestry Officer Alwyn Donnelly says the tree planting campaign also aims to help raise environmental awareness and shed light on the importance of its protection.
The activity here today would bring all those stakeholders, all our partners, to actually come and plant the tree. So they would actually take the tree and place it in the soil. It's not like we planting and they just come in and watch. No. They actually come in to plant, and that is also significant because that kind of activity can be replicated, could be done in other places. They can come back in the next 3 to 6 months and see the progress of what their own work, their own labor. They could come back and see it, and in that way, when people are engaged, in that way, in doing the practical work themselves, sometimes there is greater value, that they place on the resources.
Mr. Donnelly encourages the public to continue to adhere to regulations put in place by the Department of Forestry, as the forest reserve and protected forest systems of the country are intended to perform essential functions such as safeguarding and regulating the island's water supply and preventing soil erosion and landslides. From the Communications Unit of the Ministry of Agriculture, I am Anicia Antoine.
And a quick break. Thank you, Anicia, for that report. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, our final segment for the morning.
What's in the food you're eating? Do you really even know? All the chemicals and hormones used to accelerate their growth. All the artificial flavoring, sweeteners and colors too. We consume and we don't spare a thought for the damage that they'll do. No, think about the children. Think about the children. How will we save them? Chemicals and GMOs are not the solution. Use organic and join.
Excessive agrochemical use, additives and genetically modified foods are harmful to health and the environment. Join the good food revolution. Grow, buy and consume organic. A message from Rise St. Lucia and the Ministry of Sustainable Development with funding from the GEF Small Grants Program, UNDP.
The good food revolution.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We're now down to our final segment for the morning. I'm going to go over a few some bulletin information for you before we part ways. But first, the spotlight was placed on the role of the father in the family setting and his importance to society as St. Lucia joined the rest of the world in celebrating Father's Day this past Sunday, 20th June 2020. On a special edition of the program, Issues and Answers, aired on the National Television Network, NTN, host Dr. Barry Innocent and Dr. Emmanuel McLaurin engaged in a fruitful discussion on a father's influence on the holistic development of a child. Dr. Emmanuel McLaurin, family counselor and bishop over at the Bethel Tabernacle Empowerment Center, believes that fathers are to provide a sense of security, acceptance and belonging to the life of his child or ward.
Right. Because one of the things we've learned in as we deal with counseling, that if the father's role is not proper within the home and the child does not learn how to relate to a father, it becomes difficult to relate to God as the father. And we have found that because if they had a bad fathering process in the home, so they see God from the same light of that father. And so sometimes they see him as creator, but they cannot receive him as father. So the father role is very, very important. Very, very important. You know, very important that they understand that in their role they must be there as a father with all the stuff with confidence and building them, guiding them, leading them, spending time with them, and really leading them now spiritually. Yeah.
Now, Dr. Barry Innocent indicated that the Department of Gender Relations has seen an increase in participation from father figures in the lives of their children, a welcome development.
The Gender Relations Department, they were telling me, through the director there, she was telling me that it has been reported that lately, as you already said, there seems to be a shift in the behavior of a lot of fathers. She was saying that the schools are reporting that you have more fathers, not more than mothers, but more than usual. You have fathers attending PTA meetings, visiting the teachers. You have fathers dropping their children at preschools and daycare, carrying them, like you said. And she said to me that there seemed to be an improved sense of responsibility in fathers in the way they perform their role and having an integral part in the life of the child.
That was Dr. Barry Innocent there speaking on the increase in fathers playing their roles as fathers more and more in the community, in the household, in the family. We've come to the end of our updates for this morning, but I just wanted to go over a word from the Department of Transport for you. They are indicating that there has been a road closure in the community of Forestry. Let me just pull up this press release. So the public is hereby informed of the temporary road closure of the Foreclosure Road from the main road by Mr. Papin's Forestier, Castries, from Tuesday, June 22nd, 2021 to 29th June 2021. And this is to facilitate roadworks in that area. The Department of Economic Development apologizes for any inconvenience that has been caused due to this road closure. We also have the mobile vaccinations, the mobile blood bank happening. Let me just pull this up for you as well. Happening today I believe it is happening at the OKEU Hospital, but I invite you to go on over to the Ministry of Health Facebook page just to confirm so that you can give blood today. It is very important. It helps to save lives, particularly in this space that we're in right now, contending in a pandemic. And it just makes the job of health professionals much easier working at the hospitals in being able to have stores of blood at the ready for any eventuality. So we come to the end of our program for today. I'd like to thank you so much for watching. Also, congratulations hearing that Darren Sammy has been appointed to the West Indies Cricket Board. And so hopefully we can have him on set for our morning program to speak to us about this appointment and let us in on his intentions during his tenure. So congratulations to you, Mr. Sammy. Do enjoy the rest of your day, everybody. We do hope you keep safe, continue adhering to the protocols. Remember to be in by curfew time this evening. And until such time that we meet tomorrow, God willing, do keep safe. Hold on to your family tight. Enjoy the little things. Look for positive things to say about people. Look for the highlight of moments and circumstances instead of the negative aspect. So please take note of also the latest word from the Department of Health and Wellness, the continued admonition on their part, asking for persons to continue adhering to the infection prevention and control measures. You know them already. Remember them as you're going about your day. My name is Jessie Leon, signing off for now. Enjoy the rest of it and stay tuned to NTN for more programming. Goodbye.